Hey guys, welcome back.
Ahoy.
So, this is our ultimate final part. I don't know why I had the word ultimate there.
Maybe because of this Ultimate Alliance game right here.
That's a good excuse.
Haha.
But yes, this is the last part, so it's 10 to 1. Best Marvel movies, best MCU movies, and I'm
Not Marvel. Best MCU.
gonna let Sean start this list. So,
Okay.
number 10.
So, number 10 for me, Guardians of the Galaxy 1.
Blasphemy.
Blasphemy!
Blasphemy.
So, for me, Guardians of the Galaxy 1. Good team film, good characters, good mix of everything. I just think that, you know, it's not that it's a bad film, it's just since Guardians 1 came out, we've had a lot of good films.
That's true.
That's all that is to it. Guardians 1 would be higher if we were back in that time period, but we've had Infinity War, Civil War, so many good films have come out since then that are all teen films too, ironically enough. That I just think, you know, Guardians 1 just has its nice place at number 10.
So yeah, my number 10 will be Spider-Man Homecoming.
Dun, dun, dun.
Now, ironic, I think Sean is actually the bigger Spider-Man fan out of both of us. So
This is why I'm as critical and correct.
So maybe that's why I have it, you know, a bit higher. But I thought it was an enjoyable movie. I really like seeing Michael Keaton in a superhero movie again. He was a fantastic Vulture.
He was very good as Vulture.
Yes, yes. And that's one of the reasons I rate this movie so high. And the whole Mary Jane being his daughter thing, that came out of nowhere, but it was a really good twist.
Jane his daughter?
Who is it again?
No, it wasn't Mary Jane, it was just that random crush that he had.
Oh yeah.
MJ was just a little weirdo at the end.
Well, cut that out.
If you couldn't tell, I am the bigger Spider-Man.
Maybe we'll
fan.
keep it just to show that. Okay,
Right.
so not Mary Jane.
There you go.
But then again, to me, Mary Jane is the hot Kirsten Dunst redhead. So in this universe, Mary Jane is blasé to me.
Yeah,
we'll
that
use that as
was
an
a little bit of
excuse.
a weird little, yeah, but whatever.
I love Kirsten.
Nothing against the actress. She's not Mary Jane.
She's not Kirsten Dunst, I'm sorry. Okay, so anyway, yeah, I liked stuff like that. It was really cool. It was a good, fun teen movie. Well shot, having, you know, the wider MCU in there like Iron Man and stuff. It was really good. So yeah, I think it was a great movie. Much better than Sony's attempt at the Spider-Man movies by far. So for me, that's why it's number 10 and it's a great movie. I would definitely recommend you guys for
That
that.
makes sense. For me, my number 9 is Captain America 2.
Oh, yes.
So, Captain America 2. Again, one of those films. Good film. Don't have any real problems with the film. I just think the better films have come out afterwards. You know, Winter Soldier did a lot of things for the MCU, changed a lot of things. Thought it was well and good. Just think that, especially with the characters involved, Bucky and Cap, there have been movies that they've been in which I think are just slightly better. So it just gets pushed down a bit. That's all.
So for me, it's Ant-Man 1. Now, I think this is something nobody would have expected when, you know, Ant-Man was announced.
A true sleeper hit.
Yeah, exactly. And it just came out of nowhere. It was hilarious, funny, fantastic characters. Scott Lang, brilliant. Luis, once again, we can't get enough of that guy. Hank Pym, you know,
Yep.
I don't know if he's as douchey as he is in the comic books, because I remember in the comic books he was abusing his wife, if I remember correctly. But I could kind of see this Hank Pym maybe doing that. He definitely was at least a douche, so that was fantastic. And yeah, just overall it was, like Sean said, it has a good mix of Edgar Wright in there. You have lots of elements that come together just perfectly, and it was fantastically funny, and for that reason, it's number 9 on our list. Well, at least on my list.
That makes sense. For me, number 8, Incredible Hulk.
Ooh, that's way too
yeah.
high. In my
I mean,
opinion.
you say that. Now, again, as I said, in our last video, I actually really like The Incredible Hulk. I know it's not a perfect film. I know that the end is basically just two big hulking things punching each other. But that's Hulk! He goes after the biggest, baddest guys and punches him in the face!
That's pretty much the comic book stories.
That's what he does!
Yeah.
And especially because considering it was the second film out of the MCU. The second film!
Yeah.
And for me, while not Iron Man levels of quality, was still a really solid film.
It could have killed
And then
MCU.
right at the end, the twist with Iron Man showing up just secures it in a high place for me. Because that's just for me, Iron Man started the MCU, Incredible Hulk ensured that it was going to happen.
Yeah, exactly. So I guess that is an excuse. I mean, a reason. But moving down to
Number 8 is
Black Panther. Now, that was a really good movie. I was really surprised. Now, of course, there was a lot of hype around this movie, probably, you know, due to it being the first black superhero movie. I'll say first because Blade, people. Blade! But, no, seriously, at least we'll say it's the first black MCU movie. I think it had a lot riding on it for, you know, that demographic, which we're not part of, obviously.
Obviously.
But we enjoyed a lot of aspects of it, and I can see, you know, beyond that kind of targeting of the audience, it was a fantastic movie, and even then I could absorb a lot of those elements, because I really enjoyed kind of seeing like this very interesting look at this African culture, and I like how unashamedly African it was. That's one thing I can say about that movie.
It was fantastic. The fact that, yeah, you are part of Wakanda, which is one of the highest technologically advanced places on the planet, still hold on to its roots. It still felt very sort of African.
Yes.
But in a way that sort of made sense for the film too. It was just fun.
Yeah, and it was so genuine, and the characters, Killmonger, fantastic villain.
And the music too!
Yeah, the music, great.
The music for half the... It was incredible! I really enjoyed it. I did not expect to enjoy Black Panther as much as I did. Because I wasn't sure about his character in Civil War, but... Very good film.
It was brilliantly brought up, and I just want to again bring up Killmonger because one of the best MCU villains
by far.
The MCU hasn't done villains as well, but just fantastic. So Black Panther definitely deserves its spot in the top 10 easily for me.
For me, let's see. Number 7, Ant-Man number 1.
Ooh, yeah.
Straight away. I went in there expecting very little. But no, I got out of there and I was very impressed with the film that I got. You know, it was funny, there was heart in it with Scott and his daughter. You know, you felt like his struggles and everything. It was good. And then it was just him just trying to make do, randomly finding Hank Pym's suit and all the things that led up to it. It's fantastic. The only thing that I will say was a bit of a sort of like about it is one of the scenes where he's on one of the ants, Anthony I believe, swarm of ants heading towards the guy who's stolen the yellow jacket suit, and he manages to fire a gun. And the one bullet that he fires manages to hit the ant directly, killing the ant, but not Scott. And I'm like, I called it after it came out the cinema. I said, that is bull. That is absolute bull. Movie bull at its finest. But it didn't ruin the film for me, so I'll at least give it that.
I do just want to add that, yeah, Sean is right. Fantastic, like having a superhero that actually has a kid. And we're not fathers ourselves, but I can just kind of feel that, and you can feel their bond and everything, and that was fantastic.
Yeah, the actress who plays his kid is very good. It makes the whole thing seem very real.
Yeah, so a fantastic choice, and once again, a big surprise to be top 10 Ant-Man. So next, Iron Man.
Hey, got there in the end.
Now, this is actually the first MCU movies, as you guys obviously know, because if you're watching this, we're assuming you're nerds. But yeah,
you kid.
It's amazing that after so many years, Iron Man 1 is still so high. Now, I wish it could be higher, but the problem is the movies above this are of such high quality that it can't be higher, unfortunately. But Iron Man 1, just to say, when it came out, it, you know, broke everything. Basically, The Dark Knight was really big back then.
Yeah. Spider-Man obviously was a very successful movie franchise as well.
This was Marvel Studios' first movie, nobody really thought it could do it, but just out of nowhere, they pulled it out of, you know, the bag.
And who could have guessed what they were planning for it as well? The fact that they came up with this one movie, didn't really look like it was going to go anywhere, maybe a couple of references here and then, and we was just like, cool, we're getting an Iron Man franchise. And oh boy, if only we knew. And that turned into all of this. It's just absolutely amazing. So Iron Man 1, obviously it set up the formula for all the MCU movies to come. The humor, the characters, the plots, everything. So Iron Man 1 is still a fantastic movie, still funny, and Robert Downey Jr. steals the show, so that's why it's so high. The fact that the MCU is still relevant 11 years on is a credit to how good the first film was, Iron Man 1. Yeah. Which is why it's my number 6! Because yeah, as we said, Iron Man 1 is just a really solid film. Fantastic. It's still one of the cool films, you know? Yes. You can watch that film and you can immediately just go, Tony Stark is a cool character. Yeah, exactly. It just is. Everything about his character is cool. And of course, Robert Downey Jr., perfect Tony Stark. Yep. I don't think you could get a better Tony Stark. I think it's fair to say he's even the star of the MCU, that's how good he is. I mean, he gets paid the most, so that's a little bit of a hint. But yeah, so for me, Iron Man 1, definitely number 6. So my number 6 is the movie that my colleague likes to call ridiculously good, and I completely agree with, is Thor Ragnarok. Now, Thor Ragnarok just came out of nowhere. The trailers instantly made it look good. And made it look very different from the previous Thor films, which was a good thing. And it actually followed on from that kind of theme and turned out to be a fantastic movie. We got fantastic characters, an all-star cast including Jeff Goldblum and Cate Blanchett, who all knocked their roles completely out of the park. Jeff Goldblum, while being in it for a short amount of time, was fantastic. He was very funny. Yeah, very funny, especially the end credit scene. Yeah, the end credit scene was again Oh, very funny.
And I gotta say, Hela is one of my favorite villains of all time.
Yep, that's understandable.
She's like a mixture of badass and fetish fuel, but it works completely.
If you want to describe her like that, saying she's your favorite, whatever you do.
So for that, she just completely blew it out of the park. One of my favorite villains, and for Ragnarok, just so much to say, so little time unfortunately, but it easily deserves its place on number 6.
Yeah, makes sense.
So now we're breaking into the top 5.
So for me, my number 5, Black Panther.
Oh,
Again, fantastic film. I enjoyed it thoroughly. Shuri is a fantastic character as well. Nice addition into Black Panther's lore and everything. She was very funny. I thought it was very nice seeing like a young prodigy sort of come in, especially after we've been dealing with Tony Stark for however long. Not saying he's bad, just, you know, it's nice to see someone on his level that's younger. Maybe they can take over the mantle one day, just saying. Only negative thing I'd have to say about Black Panther is, and I'm sure other people have echoed this before, the fight scene at the end between Black Panther and Killmonger, the CGI on it just looked really, really awful. I'm not sure what happened. But,
I didn't notice that, to be fair, but
yeah, it's
probably an issue.
I'll bring it up to you, don't worry. But yeah, it's well documented that the fight scene at the end is just not very good CGI quality-wise, but the rest of the film, stellar, absolutely stellar.
Easily. My number 5 is Captain America: The Winter Soldier. Now, when this came out, a lot of people said it was their favorite movie, their favorite MCU movie.
Yep.
And I think for all of those reasons that were listed back then, like dark storyline, serious characters, intrigue,
Really evolved Captain
acting.
America's character from Captain America 1, definitely.
Exactly. Just all of these elements came together so well. And for me, it was really good because it's the first MCU movie that I felt it took itself seriously. So the general tone of the MCU obviously is quite comedic and lighthearted. So this change in pace was really great, and I think it was pulled out the park. And the Russo brothers, they went on to make other amazing movies in the MCU.
Yep.
And this is where it all started. So yeah, for all those reasons above, that's why I put The Winter Soldier at the top. It's fantastic.
It's very good. On to number 4 now. 4 for me, oddly enough, is 3.
Yes.
So yeah, Thor Ragnarok, again, fantastic film.
Yes.
Very, very funny. I think no one can deny that Thor is hilariously funny.
So funny, so
the
funny.
banter between Thor and Banner and Thor and Hulk, again, fantastic. Valkyrie, fantastic character.
Yes.
Why wasn't she in Infinity War? You know, it's just fantastic seeing a film like that was, you know, stagnated by Thor 1 was, you know, good, okay, great, you know, good enough film. You got Thor 2, which just let everyone down, and Thor 3 came out of nowhere.
Yes.
I don't think anyone was expecting Thor 3 to impact as it did.
Yeah.
You know, Taika Waititi, I think that's the director's name, fantastic. He plays Korg as well, again, one of the best characters in the entire film, very funny. Loki and Thor have classic banter again, which is again very great.
Yeah.
Just an all-round fantastic film, and came out of nowhere, especially for the Thor franchise.
So moving
Your top pick for number 4?
on to number 4 is Civil War for me.
Oh yeah.
Now, Civil War, that was a brilliant movie. Like, after Avengers 2 had kind of made me lose a bit of faith in the MCU, I think it's basically the ultimate nerdgasm of a movie. Following Avengers and all of the other movies, and especially the disappointment of Avengers 2, but then Civil War came along and just completely reignited that. It completely turned the turd that was Avengers 2 and actually made something of it, you know, having the consequences of the Sokovia, of having that destroyed, and actually, you know, saying, oh hey look, the Avengers are destroying things, you know, they need to be controlled.
Yeah.
And then turning that into a great storyline that interweaved with Captain America and everything.
It was a fantastic way to sort of change the whole dynamic of, oh, we just call the Avengers when things go wrong.
Yeah.
Well, actually, no, you guys have consequences for your actions, which is fantastic.
It completely brought all these, like, themes together, and it just hit it out of the park.
Yep.
And all of the new characters that we saw, like Black Panther and Spider-Man, again, they were the first time we ever saw them, and yet they were done so well. So Captain America Civil War is just a great movie, great ends to the Captain America trilogy, and a fantastic Avengers 2, as Sean would like to call it.
Exactly, yes, and that is exactly why it is my number 3 spot as well. Civil War.
Once again.
It's fantastic. It's just, nothing really needs to be said. I mean, Civil War is a film itself, it's comedic, it's done very well. I call it Avengers 2. It's the Avengers 2 we should have got, as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, great introductions to Spider-Man and Black Panther. You had great banter moments between the characters because obviously allies turned semi-enemies. And it was fascinating. I know that the comic itself has a lot more heroes in it and there's a lot more going on in it, but especially after Avengers 2, we needed a good sort of like all the heroes in one film to come out of nowhere, really hit it out of the park, and I think Civil War did a fantastic job of doing that.
Brilliant movie.
And your top 3?
So,
your number 3 and your top 3?
So, my number 3, I can't believe we're number 3 already, is Infinity War. Now, this doesn't need much explaining. Came out last year, broke all the records. made a million memes. I still love a lot of those memes, as sad as it is. But no, just a great movie. The best villain in the MCU by far.
Yeah.
I just find it mind-blowing how he was introduced in that one movie, and yet he was developed and created so well and went on to be so memorable. It's just a great achievement by Marvel, and amazing how they brought all these separate threads together and, you know, converged it into one movie quite coherently.
Yeah, and it's been fascinating seeing all the different references we've had to Thanos from Guardians, and seeing his little teaser at the end of Avengers, and seeing that it all culminates into this, well, I was going to say one, but with Endgame, I guess two.
Yeah, two movies.
Films, really showing off his character, showing off the depth of his, you know, reasoning for wanting to be what he's doing.
Yeah.
So, for me, fantastic too, which is why it's my number 2.
So,
Number 2, Infinity War. It's as he said, it's one of those films. It's the culmination of all of the MCU up until this point, Infinity War and Endgame, and realistically, Infinity War knocked it out of the park. It did exactly what it needed to do,
Yes.
probably above and beyond what it needed to do. And for me, it just shows that the MCU, though it's had its faults, really does know what it's doing when it comes down to like building up a big story.
so going into number 2, and this was a very, very hard choice, and a lot of you guys are going to hate me, but I'm going to put Avengers.
Avengers at number 2.
So that's going to be very controversial, because this is easily, you know, one of the best movies in the whole entire
Certainly a high
franchise.
point in the entire franchise, definitely.
And, you know, arguably it made the whole MCU, because this is what kind of put them all on the map.
Yeah.
It's how it took all these separate movies and made it into this phenomenon. Can't say that word.
Phenomenon.
Phenomenon. Okay, this phenomenon. What's another word for phenomenon?
Another one.
This movement.
Movement?
I don't know.
Avenge!
Exactly. I'll just let you say the word.
Okay.
Phenomenon.
Yeah.
I said it fine there. Okay, but yeah, it was that, and basically it went on to spawn on a shitload of movies, shitload of games. It brought the
Shitload of fucking merchandise, I'm telling you that right now.
you know, from the comics, who they were always a massive, you know, group. The Avengers actually became like mainstream, kind of like Iron Man. Iron Man wasn't that well known before Iron Man 2008.
Yeah.
And Avengers just made it so successfully mainstream, but at the same time catered to like the nerds and actually, you know, lived up to the characters and everything.
Yep. And the fantastic thing is like when it comes down to it, if Avengers had flopped, we wouldn't be where we are now.
Yeah, no, definitely not. So we basically owe Avengers the whole MCU at this point. So yeah, it's a great movie, but unfortunately, it's just not as good as number 1 for me.
Which for you is?
My number 1 is Guardians of the Galaxy, obviously.
There you go. There's only one left, so.
And Sean obviously put it lower in the list, and I can see why. But for me personally, it was just the best movie in the whole MCU, easily. Maybe not easily, but as a movie, it's the most concise, it's the most well put together, it has all the best elements, and I feel it just comes together so well. Fantastic soundtrack, fantastic cast list, fantastic acting, brilliant visuals.
Yep.
So funny, so quotable. It's basically the whole essence of Marvel put together perfectly into one movie, and for that reason it's just the best movie for me in the MCU. So I think a lot of people will hopefully agree.
Yeah, I
and
understand that.
Obviously people will think maybe Avengers could be better, but for me it's Guardians of the Galaxy easily.
Yeah, I mean for me when it comes down to it, when you look at it, they made a talking raccoon and a talking tree funny.
Yep.
And, you know, as you say, you know, it is one of your films because it's one of the few films in the MCU that is amazing without having to watch other films before watching this one.
Which is a big
standalone
strength
in itself, which is a good strength. I can understand that.
Which we would say is a bit of a weakness of Infinity War, that you need to...
It is, but I mean, you know, if you're an MCU fan, which I'm assuming you would be if you're watching this, you know, for me it doesn't matter that much. That's why I can put it as high as I can.
Yeah. But that is a plus definitely for Guardians there.
100%.
You know, it's just perfect standalone movie.
You could throw this at any random movie go and be like, watch this, and be like, oh, that was really good. So that's the benefit of that. For me though, my number 1 has to be
obviously now.
The original Avengers.
Yes.
For me, that was just the culmination of, and again, because here we are about to watch Endgame, the culmination of the entire MCU. Avengers was the culmination of all this planning, all these different films, all these different unique characters coming together into the big screen, just going funk. And at the end of the day, it was a film that could have flopped.
Yes.
It could have gone vastly wrong. We've seen it happen before with Spider-Man 3. Too many different characters on screen, not enough time to develop. But the fact that they made films about all these characters beforehand, to then put them on the screen, nailed them all. Their personalities jumped well off of each other. The stakes were high. The visual effects were incredible.
Yes.
It was just a fantastic film. To this day, I will go back and retain that. I don't see a negative in Avengers.
Yeah.
For me, I grant you what you have to watch the other films, but frankly, you're watching good films to get up to that point. I don't see a negative in that.
And I think arguably Avengers 1 holds on better as a standalone movie than Infinity War.
Yeah, I mean, even if you don't have any understanding of the characters, you get enough by in Avengers 1 that you can kind of sideline all the other ones if you absolutely have to. I'd recommend watching all the ones that came before, but that's because I'm an MCU fan.
So yeah, that's our top 10 list. We think we've got a pretty good list, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, this is just our personal opinion. You don't have to take it as like, these are the ultimate 10 movies, there is no others. By all means, let us know what you think in the comments. Any other ones that you want us to sound off about. What's your favourite? What's your ultimate? You know, maybe it is Endgame. You know, we haven't seen it yet, so we don't know.
We're all Endgame place.
We don't know. I'm assuming high because everyone's been praising it to high end and Mac, but we don't know. We'll change our list as according once we've seen the film today.
Yes. So I think it's also important to say we haven't seen some of these movies in many years.
Yeah, that's very true.
So this list is subject to change. But for the moment, right before Endgame, and we're pumped as hell.
This is how we feel.
Yep.
Avenged up. Avenged up. I
don't know how that works.
Anyway, yeah, just let us know what you think in the comments, anything we should improve on, anything you want us to talk about. Let us know what your MCU top 10 or top 21 or whatever it is films go, and yeah, that's us.
And yeah, so we'll see you after Endgame. Can't wait.